Are you getting ready to take the Praxis World and U.S. History Content Knowledge exam? This is test code 5941. If this is a test that you need to pass, then I think I can help. My name is Matt Taylor, and I am a test prep expert with Study.com. In this video, I'm going to help you by walking you through the information that you need to know to feel confident and prepared on exam day. We are going to review everything that is on the test, how to prepare, and 5 top tips so that you will be successful. Make sure to like and subscribe to Praxis Test Prep to see more videos with sample problems for Praxis 5941 and more test-taking tips. Okay, let's get started. Praxis 5941 assesses the essential knowledge and skills required for aspiring secondary school teachers specializing in world and U.S. history. This test is aligned with the National Standards for Social Studies Teachers as established by the National Council for Social Studies, also known as NCSS. You will answer questions from 4 areas, each of which takes up 25% of the exam, or about 30 questions. The first section is World History to 1450 CE. Next is World History, 1450 CE to the present, then United States History to 1877, and the fourth and final section is United States History, 1877 to the present. These 4 categories cover the 120 questions on the exam. However, sprinkled through the 120 questions will be 30 questions that combine the category with historical thinking skills. You'll see about 30 historical thinking skills questions, and these can be in any category. In the exam guide, historical thinking skills is considered a 5th category, but you can think about it as a question type that may be applied to any topic. An example historical thinking skill is knowing how to evaluate primary and secondary sources. You might see a question using this skill about ancient Egypt, 21st century United States, or anywhere in between. Be sure you check out our channel for videos that go into a lot more detail for each topic and subtopic. In these videos, test prep experts review sample problems step by step, so you will have a better understanding of the types of questions you can expect to find on the actual exam. How many questions? There are 120 selected response questions. In other words, multiple choice questions. Some questions will have the possibility of 1 or more correct answers amongst the options. You can identify these by the phrase, "select all that apply." Here is where I want to give you the first 2 of my top test-taking tips, which are 1. To read each question thoroughly, and 2. To read through all answer options before making your final decision. The easiest way to make a careless mistake is to misread the question or choose the first answer that looks right. Make sure you thoroughly understand what is being asked and have considered each answer choice before selecting an answer. Here's an example. If you don't read all the answers first, you may choose A, as it seems reasonable. The total available time is 2 hours or 120 minutes. This means you have 1 minute per question. And this is where I want to give you the third of my top tips, which is to aim for about 45 to 50 seconds per question, which will give you a buffer for questions that may require more thought. Top tip number 4, avoid overthinking questions you're unsure about. Move on so you don't lose time. You will be taking this test on a computer. You can sit the exam at a test center or at home with online proctoring. There may be some questions on the exam that will not be counted in your final score, but you won't know if these questions count or not. So just assume that every question counts. This brings me to my final top tip, which is to watch your time. The best way to ensure you stay on target is to do timed practice. This will help you get used to how long you have for each question. The assessment evaluates historical thinking skills, such as formulating historical questions, evaluating sources, constructing arguments, connecting across time and geography, assessing causation, and contextualizing events globally. It also includes interpreting written texts, maps, charts, graphs, tables, cartoons, diagrams, and photographs. The questions on the test will establish whether you are familiar with major historical events and theories, whether you have the necessary knowledge in all content areas as well as their interconnectivity, and if you could teach this content in a classroom. Let's take a closer look at the specific content you need to know for this exam. There is a lot, covering thousands of years and the whole world. Stick with me and we'll go over some effective study tips at the end so you aren't overwhelmed by everything there is to know. The first category is World History to 1450 CE. This includes such topics as world geography and environmental factors shaping human history, influencing early societies, the Neolithic Revolution, and the formation of river valley civilizations. Key topics include the development of Greece, Rome, Persia, India, and China from 1000 BCE to 500 CE, the origins of major religions, causes of empire collapses, the spread of Islam, and the impact of trade routes like the Silk Road, Mediterranean Sea, and Trans-Saharan. Here's an example. As you've probably noticed, this exam uses BCE and CE. You may have studied from history texts that use BC and AD, but you can consider BCE the same as BC and CE the same as AD. The second category is World History 1450 CE to the present. This section covers European exploration, colonization, and global political competition, the rise of political entities like Spain, Russia, and Manchu China, impacts of the Atlantic, Trans-Saharan, and East African slave trades, the Renaissance, Reformation, Enlightenment, and Scientific Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, independence movements, nationalism, and imperialism. It also addresses the development of Nazi Germany, the USSR, and Communist China. World War I and World War II events, the Cold War, women's changing roles, the USSR's breakup, human rights movements, technological advances, and 20th century genocides. Here's an example. Next is United States history to 1877, where you will find questions regarding pre-colonial North American geography and cultures, European colonization and its impacts, colonial relationships, and regional social structures. It includes the American Revolution, the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, and political developments up to the Civil War. Topics also include territorial expansion, the market economy, antebellum reforms, sectionalism, and the Civil War and Reconstruction. Here's an example. The fourth historical period covered is United States history 1877 to the present, where you will likely come across questions about the 19th and 20th centuries, highlighting industrialization, urbanization, and immigration in the U.S. It contrasts urban and rural development, examines U.S. imperialism, and regional developments like Jim Crow and Native American policies, and explores changes from the Gilded Age and Progressive Era. Topics include women's suffrage, World War I impacts, the 1920s, the Great Depression, the Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement, cultural shifts, major policy initiatives, and global and technological changes into the 21st century. It also addresses the evolving role of the U.S. post-Cold War. Here's an example. The final category is historical thinking skills. But remember, you'll actually see historical thinking skills questions scattered across the 4 time period categories. There are 30 in total. For these questions, you will be expected to demonstrate a clear understanding of formulating historical questions, identifying and evaluating primary and secondary sources, analyzing people's values and motivations, and writing thesis statements and arguments using these sources. It also includes making connections between historical developments across time and geography, comparing events, and placing them in a global context. Here's an example. That is a lot to cover. So how do you prepare? We recommend starting with a full-length practice test. Study.com's test prep course offers several. In this way, you can identify your strengths and weaknesses, so you know where to focus the most time. Don't worry about your scores on these prep tests. They are simply for the purpose of finding out what you need to work on, so please don't feel discouraged. It's all part of the process. And with the Study.com course, we will auto-generate an individualized study plan just for you. If you do use other test prep methods, you will likely have to do the analysis of your practice tests manually. Watch Study.com's lessons to review the topics in your study plan and do practice problems. I am personally a fan of flashcards as they are versatile, portable, and most importantly, effective for exams like this one, where there is a lot to memorize. My top tips for studying is really just 2 steps that you should repeat again and again. Review and practice, and review and practice, and review and practice. Here is some other Praxis exam advice that will help you prepare for the exam day. Keep in mind the importance of understanding the test structure. Acquaint yourself with the format, question types, and content areas of the exam. Familiarity with these aspects will aid in managing your time efficiently during the test. Utilize the extensive resources available at Study.com to engage in thorough practice, as these materials are designed specifically for the exam and offer dependable preparation. Establish a study schedule. Organize your review sessions to ensure comprehensive preparation, dividing the material into manageable sections and setting a timeline to thoroughly go over each one. Additionally, concentrate on your weak points. Identify areas where you need improvement and allocate extra time to those subjects. This focused method can greatly enhance your overall performance. Engage in timed practice tests. Complete full-length exams under timed conditions to mimic the actual test environment. This will help you adjust to the pressure of timed scenarios. Make sure to stay updated on test day requirements. Be aware of what to bring and understand the regulations of the test center. Also, take care of your well-being. Ensure you are well-rested and well-fed on the day of the exam. Getting enough sleep and eating a healthy breakfast and staying hydrated can significantly influence your performance. Lastly, remain calm and confident. Approach the test with a positive mindset. Confidence can markedly improve your performance, so concentrate on your preparations and understanding rather than your worries.